Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jambry. Today, we got a wide variety of stuff to talk about. To be honest, we're talking NBA play-in. We're staying with basketball, but we're going to the WNBA. They just had their draft. Let's talk about their draft. We have, some individual players. Talk about Nick Chubb, MLB, and then we're talking about some more basketball. Before we get into all that, though, tips and donations. Tips and donations are always greatly appreciated. It really means you guys care about the content that we are putting out. And by donating and tipping, it really means you guys care and that we're going to keep putting out the best content that we possibly can. So if you want to tip or donate and you're not in the live stream, feel free to do so with the links in the bio and description. And if you're on the live stream, super chat and stickers are the best way to do so. Even if you don't want to tip or donate, you got comment in the live stream, in the chat, or in the comment section on YouTube. I'll get to those as soon as I see them. I love talking to you fans, talking to people who are listening. It's what I do. It's what my job is, talking sports. And I love being able to hear other people's opinions. So like I said, if you want to tip or donate, you can do so if you're in the live stream via super chat or stickers. Not in the live stream, links in the bio description. But if you just want to leave a comment, do it in the comment section in the comment of the video or live stream chat so I can get to that as soon as possible and talk to you guys. With that being said, let's get into the content for today. First segment, we're talking NBA play-in. The NBA postseason has finally arrived. It's been a long time coming. It always feels, like it's forever. But the NBA play-in started a few years ago, and it's possibly the best thing the NBA has added in a while. Maybe the NBA play-in, like the Cup, but NBA play-in is just so fun to watch. You got 10 teams now competing instead of the 6, for a play-in spot, just playing in the playoffs. And I love it. And it finally starts tonight. Even if, the play-ins aren't the best overall teams, the games themselves are just so amazing and fun to watch. And I want to talk about, who I think is going to win, all that. We'll talk about the Eastern Conference first because, the East I feel like it's a lot easier to predict the East compared to the West because, East is not as much of a war zone as the West was. The West is still an absolute just mess, even in the play-in playoffs. It's going to be amazing. But like I said, talk about the Eastern Conference first, then go to the West. First game, you got the Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks. This game is going to be very interesting and will be heavily reliant. The Magic will be relying on their defense as always. After all, they are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Their rating says so. Offense, isn't as good as their defense. Let's say that. Their defense is just so dominant, though. I mean, they've been winning games all season. Even though if they're not putting out the most points, their defense is just so dominant. I mean, all five, no matter who's in the court at the time. Paolo, Jalen Suggs, the Wagner twins. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're just playing good, hard defense, and it works for them. And their offense, like I said earlier, could use some work. I mean, it's definitely not horrible. They're in the play-in, but, could do some work. And going against the Atlanta Hawks, who are known for their offense, you got guys like Trae Young, one of the best three-point shooters in the game right now, hucking up shots, playing decent defense. Not really the best defense, but, he's playing okay defense. But, I mean, overall, it's going to be a really good 7-8 game. And I do think the Magic will win just based off their defensive play. So they'll be in the playoffs. And then you got the other Eastern game, 9 versus 10. 9 Chicago Bulls versus 10 the Miami Heat. If Jimmy Butler was still on the Heat, if he was still there, they definitely wouldn't be that 10 seed, maybe already a playoff lock. But he left. He left to go to Golden State. But, the Heat are just better with Jimmy Butler. But even with him gone, the playoff Jimmy's gone, the Heat are still a good basketball team. They went on a 10-game losing streak a few weeks ago. So, that's never good for your reputation. Oh, these guys, you want to make a run, but going on a 10-game losing streak is not going to help your case. But they are a good team. Bam Adebayo, Jamie Vasquez, Tyler Hero, Duncan, Robinson. I mean, these guys, it's a good load. They have a lot of talent on that team. So, but they are playing Chicago. Chicago, Josh Giddey, post All-Star break, is one of the best players in the NBA right now. Like, just him and the Bulls post All-Star break. He's just he was dropping. There was a 4 or 5 day span where he was dropping triple doubles back to back to back to back. I mean, he's playing great basketball. No one can deny that. But I just don't feel like there's enough talent on the Bulls team besides maybe like Kobe White, to like match up against the Heat, and that's why I think the Heat will end up beating them in the 9-10 game, and then go on to play the Hawks in the for the 8 seed. It's the 10 Heat playing the 8 Hawks for the 8 spot. In that game, that'd be a very interesting game. It could go back or forth, but honestly, I can just see the Heat winning that game. The Hawks, I don't want them to make the playoffs because they never do anything with their playoffs when they make it. They'll be a 7 or 8 seed, get swept each time. I mean, they just don't make any noise in the playoffs. And also in the Heat or in the playoffs, it's just a better time. They always put up, good numbers. They always play good basketball. So I would much rather see the Heat in the playoffs, so that's why I have them winning. So I would then have the 7 Magic at the 7 and then Heat at the 8 for them both to play, for the Magic to then play the Celtics and then the Heat to play the Cavaliers. Which, honestly, playoff basketball with the Heat, unpredictable. So they honestly could be the Cavs, but I doubt it. And then the Magic and the Celtics, you never know. I mean, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. You never know. And then we're going to go to the Western Conference. Western Conference, like I said, still, even with the playoffs being fully set now, you still never know. You got Golden State at 7. You have the Warriors, the Dynasty Warriors in the 7th spot. Insane to think about. You got Memphis at 8, Sacramento, the Kings at 9, and then Dallas at 10. So let's talk about each of those games. So we got Golden State, the 7, versus 8, Memphis. I have Golden State winning that game. I don't even need to talk about that. I think they're just overall a better team. They still have their head coach in Steve Kerr, and the Memphis Grizzlies do not, after firing their head coach 2 weeks ago when they were in a 4-seed spot. They just had to fire him in this depth of a playoff run with a good team that they have surrounded in Memphis. John Morant, Desmond Bane, one of the best defensive players in the league, JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr. You got Zach Edey, who's proven to be one of the, honestly, he's not getting enough recognition. He's playing phenomenal basketball, and he's just helping the Grizzlies play such good ball in the paint because he's just so tall and so dominant. But overall, I think the Warriors are just a better overall team. You got Draymond Green. He's one of those gritty players in the NBA. Steph Curry, the best. Still, even though he didn't have the most threes this year, he was 3rd, kept behind Malik Beasley and Anthony Edwards. I still think he's the best three-point shooter in the league today, and he will be able to be the reason they beat the Grizzlies because of his three-point shooting ability. Also, you got guys, playoff Jimmy. I hope he pulls through. I love watching him play in the playoffs. I mean, who doesn't? Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler is one of the most exciting, electric NBA players to ever play the game. Let's be honest now. I mean, you love watching an 8, 7, 6 seed make it all the way to the NBA Finals or Eastern Conference Finals and go to 7 against the dominant Boston Celtics and beat them. I mean, who didn't? Who was opposed to that? Nobody was. But I regress on that. I mean, you got the whole team. The Warriors team is just good. They shouldn't have lost. They sold against the Clippers. They were playing good. They went to OT. Draymond Green had an interesting take on that final possession. He tried to draw contact instead of going up for the easy layup. But I'm not talking about that. They lost. Whatever. They should beat the Memphis Grizzlies to get the 7th seed. Then you go to the 9-10 game. 9 Sacramento Kings versus 10 Dallas Mavericks. That game is going to be one of the games we've definitely seen of all time. I mean, it's not going to be, the NBA Finals, obviously. It's a playing game. But it's going to just be a fun game to watch. Anthony Davis versus Sabonis. I mean, that's going to be a phenomenal big matchup. DeMar DeRozan versus Klay Thompson. I mean, the Kings have a lot of talent. They're making the play-in every year. And speaking of the play-in, one of the Kings players, Jonas Valanciunas, I can never say his last name, he leads the NBA all time in play-in points and rebounds. It's only been around for 5 years. The Kings have been in the play-in every year, and Jonas has been in the play-in every year that has happened. Not on the Kings, but he's been, since it started in the 2019-2020 season, he's been in the play-in every year, and he leads the play-in all time in points and rebounds, which I just find to be hilarious. So, honestly though, I see Sacramento outplaying the Dallas Mavericks in that game. I just think they'll just play better. I just really think they will. I think they'll play a better game. They have overall better players. Dallas has just so many injuries that have butchered them all season. If Kyrie was still healthy for the Mavericks, I would have them beating. I think Kyrie's just one of the best, still one of the best players in the NBA, but he's out. So I have Sacramento beating them in that game to then play the Memphis Grizzlies for the 8th seed, who I then think the Memphis Grizzlies will beat the Sacramento Kings because I think Memphis has a better team than Sacramento. Also, actually, it's really could go both ways. Sacramento has been in the situation before, while Memphis hasn't really been here before with these players. So it could go back and forth, but I do want to see Memphis beat the Sacramento Kings. They will then go on and play the OKC Thunder, which I think would be just a really good game. John Morant versus SGA would just be a phenomenal game to watch, and no one would be opposed to that. So my final standings: Golden State to beat Memphis for the 7th seed, Memphis to beat Sacramento for the 8th seed in the West, and then the Magic to beat the Hawks for the 7th seed in the East, and then the Heat to beat the Hawks in the losers bracket, I guess you could say, for the Heat to take the 8th seed in the East, to then go on to play the Cavs and the Celtics. That's all I got for this segment. The next segment, we're staying with the NBA. We're talking about the Detroit Pistons. First time in the playoffs since 2018. It's going to be a great playoffs. I'm going to love to watch them. After that, WNBA draft happened last night. Let's talk about who got picked, who went where. Then we're going back. We're staying, or actually, no, sorry. We're talking about something I've talked about before, the MLB lockout, possibly next year. I'll talk about that again because that's not getting a lot of recognition. End off in the NFL with Nick Chubb. But before we get into all that, take a little break, and we'll see you guys right after the break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First segment, NBA play-in. Talked about that. This segment, let's go with the NBA. Pistons, playoff sleeper? I think so. Not biased, by the way. Yeah, totally biased. But, talk about that. Third segment, going to women's basketball, WNBA. Talking about the draft that happened last night. Then we're going to the MLB, ending off in the NFL. Before we get into any of that, though, tips and donations. Tips and donations really mean the world, and you guys want to tip or donate. By tipping and donating, it shows you guys care about the content that we are putting out. And if you really do want to, feel free to. If you're in the live stream, super chat and stickers are the best way to do so. If you're not in the live stream, links in the bio description of the YouTube video. Even if you don't want to tip or donate, leave a comment in the comment section of the video or the live stream chat. I'll get to that as soon as possible. I love being able to talk to people listening. It's what I'm here for. I mean, I love talking sports. That's why I'm doing what I love. So leave a comment, leave a chat. I'll get to that as soon as possible and talk sports. But if you do want to tip or donate, like I said, if you're in the stream, live chat or super chat and stickers, the best way to do that. If you're not in the live stream, watching this on YouTube or listening, go to the bio and link in the description. Do that. With that being said, let's get into the second segment of the day, the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs. The Detroit Pistons have made the playoffs for the first time since the 2018 season. And this is a team that people aren't talking a lot of. Like, yeah, last year they won 14 games. They were the last of the league. But this year they've reinvented themselves. Got a new director of player engagement in Trajan Langdon. Got a whole new head coach in JB Binkerstaff from Cleveland. Fired their old head coach, Monty Williams. Got rid of him, replaced him with JB. And this whole new young core they have is phenomenal. I mean, you got Cade Cunningham, obviously the heart and soul of this team. They wouldn't be where they were without him. You got Jaden Ivey. Yeah, he messed up his leg in that first game of the season in the new year, 2025, when they played the Magic. Screwed up his ankle, broke it. He's been out since then. If they make the NBA championship, he will be back and cleared to play by then, but I don't know if they might get that far, unfortunately. But Jalen Duren, one of the best centers in the league right now. I mean, he's 21 years old. He's averaging a double-double. I mean, he's a freak. I mean, he's a beast in the paint. He's just phenomenal. You can't really, I mean, he's just a great player. You got these other young guys. Marcus Sasser out of Houston, phenomenal ball player. He just creates so much space. You got Ron Holland. Ron Holland wears double O out of the G League. I mean, he's a phenomenal player as well. He's getting really good minutes right now, and he's proving why he was an overall good pick for the Pistons. You got these vets that they picked up. You got Tobias Harris. I mean, drafted by the Pistons, bounced around a little bit and made it back as a vet. And he's done so much for the team since being signed. He's helped them regain what it means to play in Detroit. I mean, he's got grit. He just helps the team in so many ways. You got another vet, Tim Hardaway Jr. He played at Michigan. He's been in Michigan. He's been in Michigan his entire life. Played at Michigan University of Michigan, and then he was on the Magic or the Mavs, and then he comes back to the Mitten to play for the Pistons. I mean, he just embodies what it means to be, a Detroit Piston. He's been around this team his whole life, and he loves this team. He grew up watching them. He grew up wanting to play for them, and he finally made it. And this is exactly what the Pistons needed. A good vet to, come help, build up their young guys as well. Same with Tobias. They come in, build their guys up, just give them motivation. I mean, because all three of the vets they have, I'll get into the third one in a second, but all three of the vets they picked up have really good playoff experience. They make it a lot. They were on good teams who made it to the playoffs, and they were good, valuable assets on those teams when they made it. Tim Hardaway with the Mavs last year, NBA Finals. I mean, made it there. Tobias, a lot of runs with the Sixers when they would make the playoffs, because they made the playoffs every year since 2020, 2018, 2019, and this is the first year they missed it in a pretty long time. He was on a lot of those teams. And the third guy they picked up, he's not really a vet, but he has, helped the team a tremendous amount. One of the best three-point shooters in the league this year, Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley has the second most threes this year, 319, behind Anthony Edwards at 320. Still, I mean, the Pistons picking up Malik Beasley was the best thing that they could have done this offseason. I think he was the best pickup of the entire NBA offseason / free agency. You don't just get, I mean, what he's done for the Pistons this year, without, Malik, even if they had Cade, they still wouldn't have the success that they do now. He's a huge three-point shooter. I mean, obviously that's what he does. He shoots threes and they go in. He's just so fluid and so efficient with his shooting that every time he gets the ball, you think, oh, it's going in. When I watch him shoot, I see him shoot, oh, it's going to go in. When they were down 20 points to the Bucks in their last game of the regular season. He stepped up, dropped 30, and just sat back on the bench. He brought him back into the game, dropped 30 points off 7 threes, and just called it good. He's like, yeah, I'm good. I mean, that's just what you need. The Pistons needed guys to be able to just come, step up, make big plays in big capacities, and leave a mark. And that's what all three of the vets they've done. Came in, made plays, left a mark, and helped the young guys build up. But so we'll move on from that. But still, they're a great team, and I love, just talking about the Pistons. But they are playing the New York Knicks. The Knicks are the 3 seed in the East. However, they aren't a very good 3 seed. I think they are one of the weaker 3 seeds that's been in recent memory. They have lost every time they've played the Cavs, Celtics, or Thunder. They've lost 0-3, 0-4 actually against the Cavs, 0-4 against the Celtics, and 0-2 against the Thunder. They are a very weak 3 seed. They can't beat big opponents. And the Pistons this year, they have a 3-1 lead on the Knicks. They beat the Knicks 3 times and lost to them once. And I think that this series will either go down to 6 or 7. And I do believe the Pistons will beat the Knicks in 7 or in 6. But I don't know. I'm just saying that. But the Knicks have a lot of great players. They got one of the best guards in the league, obviously, Jalen Brunson. Phenomenal player, great player with the Mavericks. They traded him. They didn't give him, didn't develop enough. He comes to the Knicks, their coach. I mean, he just builds them up. You don't really rest their starters, so they keep playing him all the time, multiple times a game, even when they're up big. And he's just getting as many reps as he can, and it's proven to work out for him. You got guys like Mikal. Mikal Bridges is one of the best and shiftiest 3-point shooters in the league. He's like a build of KD, but he plays a lot of similar to him. He plays very similar to KD. Both big, both a little slim, but they're fast. They can make moves off ball, and they can shoot anywhere, all 3 levels. Great player. They got another phenomenal offseason / free agency signing from the Knicks, taking Karl-Anthony Towns from Minnesota, bringing him from the Wolves, bringing him to New York to the Big Apple, and he was dominating. He's still playing his really good basketball, just with a whole new team. I mean, the team is phenomenal. Josh Hart, another good guard they've had for a few years, another Villanova kid. I mean, the Knicks love their Villanova players. If they didn't trade Dante DiVincenzo, they'd have 4 guys starting who would be from Villanova on the same team together. That chemistry was nuts. Would be nuts too, but they traded them for Cat, and Julius Randle. So they lost Julius Randle, which I think was a big, downgrade, but they got Karl-Anthony Towns out of it because I didn't know at the time who they were trading for. They traded for Cat, got Cat, and they just proceeded to, get the 3 seed. Even though they are a weaker 3 seed in the past than they have been in the past, a weaker playoff team in general, they could still beat the Pistons. But I do think it'll come down to, a 6-7 game series. But I do think the Pistons could beat the Knicks. I think Cade is a better player than Mikal Bridges than Jalen Brunson. I do not think Duran's a better player than Karl-Anthony Towns, even though I wish he was. I do wish he was. I just don't think he is. Cat's just, he's got height. He can shoot. So, but Duran I think he's more physical. So that could be a really interesting, show in the paint. You have Asar Thompson playing great D all year, and he'd probably be on Mikal. So him guarding Mikal, one of the the next best 3-point shooters, would be a really good help for the Pistons and their playoff success against the Knicks. But like I said, the Pistons, are they a playoff sleeper? Absolutely. I do think they could make a name. The deepest I think they will go though is probably the Eastern Conference semis. I don't think they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think they will beat the Knicks in 6 or 7 games, but then after that, only time will tell, and only the next opponent will be whoever the next opponent is. They'll decide who it is, how far they go. If they make it to the finals, doubt it. Eastern Conference Finals, maybe. Semis, I do think they make it to the semis. That's all we got for this segment. The next segment, we're sticking with basketball, but we're switching it. We're going to the WNBA. Draft was last night. Let's talk about that. Then we're going to the MLB. Possible lockout in 2026. Let's talk about that a little bit. Then ending in the NFL with Nick Chubb. We'll get to all that after the break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. First 2 segments, we'll talk about NBA. First segment, play-in tonight, starts, talk about that. Last segment, talk about the Detroit Pistons, first postseason since 2018, how I think they'll do. This segment, sticking with basketball, but WNBA draft, talk about this. Final 2 segments, talk about the MLB, in the NFL. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about the WNBA draft. The WNBA draft happened last night, and I followed the first few picks. I wanted to see, where some of the big name players went. And I'm not surprised to see that Paige Buccaneers was the first overall pick. Paige Buccaneers, the best player in women's college basketball this year, deserved to be the first overall pick. And she was selected first overall by the Dallas Wings. And that's a team, that the first overall pick for a reason. They weren't very good. I'll tell you that. They were not a very good basketball team this year. And they deserved to be, she got there. She got the first overall pick, and that's a huge accomplishment for her. She was the best player in college basketball when she was healthy. She took them last season, took them to, another championship, got her first championship when she was a freshman, when she was healthy. She also took them to a championship. They lost, but still, Paige Buccaneers is the best player in college basketball, women's college basketball, and deserved to be picked first overall by the Dallas Wings. Second overall pick, a name I'm going to butcher. It's a French girl, Dominique Melians. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that. It's French. I definitely butchered that. But she was part of the Seattle Storm. And Seattle Storm, again, also aren't a very good team from what I've seen so far. A team in Seattle that, by the way, an NBA team needs to get to Seattle. They need that. But let's talk about the WNBA, not NBA. But, she's a French big. She's like, her NBA comparison is Victor Wembanyama. So, it's always good when you're getting a good, comparison like that. So, she will be a big help for these teams. These first overall picks, like first 5 picks, are always huge helps to whatever team they go to, no matter the sport. NFL, NBA, MLB, they're always huge helps. And this girl from France will definitely be a help for the Storm and their big play. Maybe, I feel like the WNBA takes a little while. It takes longer to rebuild than some organizations. But I definitely think this girl, this Dominique, will definitely help them rebuild faster. Third overall, the Washington Mystics. Sonia Citrin from Notre Dame, a great guard. She was one of the best guards in the draft available, and she got snagged away pretty quick by the Mystics. She helped Notre Dame. They didn't make it too far into the Women's March Madness, unfortunately, but she was a great player. She helped them win games a lot this year. She was on ESPN a lot, just being posted just from her play. She got compared a lot to, other big name players in the NBA. She's compared to Jalen Brunson, just some really shifty guards. And she was picked up by Notre Dame, or by the Mystics, because of her play like that. Because she's shifty and she's pretty small, but she can make a lot of plays when needed. Fourth overall pick, again by the Mystics. They had back-to-back third, fourth overall picks. Kiki Ifrin from USC. When Juju Watkins was out, Kiki was the next in line. She was the girl to be for the USC. She led them through the playoffs since Juju was out. She was the reason they made it to the Final Four. Unfortunately, they did lose in the Final Four, but she was a huge help. With Juju being out, she was the second person up. She led the team. She made plays when they needed them to. She was just a really good help for the USC team, and she's a huge reason they made it so far was because of her. Juju obviously was still there supporting them, but she wasn't on the court to lead. And Kiki was that girl to lead, and she's the reason. There's a reason she went fourth overall pick by the Mystics again, because she's that good. To the Golden State Valkyries, Lithuanian girl, so I'm going to butcher her name, I'm sorry. Justi Joyti. Yeah, I butchered that for sure. She's got that little apostrophe over her E in her first name, so that's definitely wrong. But she, again, these European basketball players recently in NBA and NBA and WNBA, in any sport really, are just really proving to be, really good players. And I haven't seen much of her play, but from what I have seen, through videos, through like scouting reports and all that stuff, that she's a great pickup for the Valkyries. The Valkyries, honestly, are a team that gets no talk about at all. And they're a very small market. Even in Golden State, they're a small market team. And Justy will definitely be a reason that they can, gain more traction. She's going to be a huge help throughout the season for them. Then the Mystics, again, they have 3 picks in the top 6. 3, 4, and 6. So this is the year, they're really good this year. We'll see. But then you got Georgia Ameri from Kentucky, a big. They got another big, and because Kiki, like I said, she was like a forward-ish. She wasn't really a guard. And then Georgia was, she's a bigger. She's a power forward slash center. They had her playing around a little bit in Kentucky, but they also didn't make it too far in the playoffs, March Madness. But she was a reason that they also did make it after all. SEC, is good in a lot of sports. Women's basketball is one of them. And Kentucky, they were a really good SEC school, a really good women's basketball school this year, and she was a reason that they were so good. She's a great player for them, a great player for them in the March Madness, regardless of how far they went. She was a great help for them. Then we got 2 back-to-back Connecticut Sun players, 7th and 8th picks. For the 7th pick from the Suns, out of LSU, I'm going to butcher this one as well. Anshria Maru. I got that right, actually. Surprise. Guard out of LSU. Played with Van Lith and Angel Reese 2 years ago when they were all together. And she was like the 3rd best player on that team behind Van Lith. Even though Van Lith didn't even play that good when she was at LSU, she was still that good of a player. And her compared with Angel Reese and Van Lith, it was a great team. And Maru was a phenomenal player for them as well. She was a shooting guard, and she shot. And when Van Lith wasn't shooting, it was her. And she was a great shooter for the LSU team, and a great reason they made it to the women's basketball finals and won. Like I said, for the Sun again, at the NC State, Sonoya Rivers, a forward out of NC State, going to the Sun. When you're getting a guard forward combo, back-to-back picks in the NBA draft, it's always a good thing. Having a good dynamic, guard forward dynamic, connection is always good. Setting screens off ball, rolling off picks. I mean, it's always good to have. And these two together can be really good for the Sun this year. And I'm excited to see how they perform this year with these picks, how they can rebuild and become a better team. For the Sparks, pairing up with the girl out of Stanford last year, you get Sarah Ashley Parker out of Bama. I mean, there's another guard. So you're pairing up with Cam Brink out of Stanford. Cam Brink, she's back. She's back this year, and she's going to be really good. She played good her rookie season when she wasn't hurt, and then she's back this year. Hopefully, I don't think she's gonna start off the year, back. She's gonna progress her way in, but having another guard out of Bama, like I said earlier, Bama is part of the SEC, and SEC has become really dominant in basketball, both men's and women's. And getting a good guard out of Bama is always a good thing. Bama guards tend to work out in both leagues. Brandon Miller for the Hornets. I mean, that's an example. I mean, she's going to be very helpful for the Sparks coming forward because having Cam Brink, when Cam Brink was healthy, they were one of the best teams in the WNBA, and with her coming back, plus this young addition of a new shooting guard, they're going to be really dominant this year. I'm looking forward to see how they do. Then, for the back-to-back Chicago Sky picks, the 10-11 picks. First pick out of Chicago Sky, Slovakian girl, so I'm going to butcher her name, Joya Savuchka. Yeah, I butchered that. But she's a forward out of Slovenia. And like I said, these European basketball players are becoming very good at, basketball. Basketball has become a very well-respected game around the world now. A lot of countries are playing it, and a lot of foreigners are coming to the U.S. to play WNBA and NBA. And they're really making a name, really making a mark for themselves, too. The past few MVPs in the USA have all been foreign. Not a single one has been, American. They were Greek, Giannis and Greek. You had Joel Embiid, who played for Team USA, but he's actually from it's like an island. I forgot where. It was like Haiti or something like that. But he's not American. Jokic, obviously, and Luka. He'll probably win it if he wins it this year. SGA is Canadian. That's basically American, but it's not. But whatever. These Slovakian players and these European players are really proving themselves to be really good basketball players. And her as a forward, power / small forward, she's gonna be really good help for the Sky. And pairing up with Angel Reese in the big play. Angel Reese at the 5, Agia at the 4. And then adding to that, you got the second biggest player in the WNBA draft this year by name. Behind Paige Buckner, you got Chicago Sky drafting TCU's Haley Van Lith. Haley Van Lith has been a phenomenal basketball player his entire career. Louisiana, LSU, TCU, it don't matter. She played good anywhere and everywhere. And she's probably the second biggest name in the WNBA draft this year. And she's a great player. Helped TCU go to the Elite Eight. They lost, but still. She's a great player, and the Chicago Sky have a great young core in Van Lith, Agia, and then Angel Reese, who will definitely be a dominant player again. Finally, for the first round, out of the 12 picks, the first 12 picks, she is number 12. For the Dallas Wings, we have the first overall pick and the 12th overall pick. Azicha James out of North Carolina State. 2 NC State girls back in the same round. That's always good. But she's a guard, or she's another forward, sorry, out of NC State, and then she's a really good player for NC State as well. She's a great shooter, great playmaker, and she's going to be very exciting to see paired up with Sonoya Rivers at NC. They were really good at NC State, and seeing the Wings get the Page Buccaneers, getting 2 guards, point guard out of Buccaneers, and then a shooting guard out of Azicha is going to be really interesting combo to see, and I'm excited to see how they work out, how they perform, if it works out, which I'm sure it will, but I'm excited to see it overall, how it plays out. That's all I got for this segment. The next segment, we're going to the MLB. Finally, we're going to end it off in the NFL with Nick Chubb. We'll get right back to all that after the break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Noah Jammer. The first 2 segments, we talk basketball, like it always happens here. Promise you, it's not a basketball podcast. It just feels like it is a lot, because it's that time of year, basketball's, the main subject to talk about. This segment, talk about the MLB, possible lockout in 2026. So, MLB lockout 2026. Why? So this year, the MLB was proposing an idea to, add cap space. They want to add a cap space to MLB. And MLB, as of right now, is the only American sport without, cap space. That's why they're paying these players $1 million. That's why the Mets were able to sign Juan Soto to $765 million for a 13-year contract. And Vladimir Guerrero, a $500 million contract. And Shohei Ohtani for another $500 million contract. Because there's no cap space, they can spend all the money they want. And these big market teams are going to spend as much as they can because they have a lot more money than, the Dodgers, the Nets, or the Yankees, the Mets. They have all this money because they're big market teams compared to, the Mariners or the Cardinals. They have a lot more money, send a lot better players, all that. So, like I said, earlier this season, before the season started, the MLB was proposing a cap space. We're going to put a lock on it. We're going to put a cap lock. You can only spend X amount of money for certain players for a certain amount of time, all that. And I don't think that's a good idea. Me personally, I do not think that's a good idea. The MLB is, they are a, big market sport. Granted, every team, every league has big market teams. The MLB, without, the cap space, infinite cap space, infinite money to spend, I feel like you get these big name players, the big name cities, locations, teams, and just helps the sport a lot. You see, you had Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. He's still in LA, but still. You had him on the Angels where he was getting, still getting really good recognition, but the Angels' viewership was still just, not good. The Angels are just a small market team, so they're not getting good viewership. He goes to the Dodgers, one of the biggest teams in MLB in the world, and the Dodgers stock, it just rises. Everybody starts watching all this, people are buying League Pass, people are buying, all these subscriptions to watch him play. And it just helps the sport in general. It brings in more money, brings in revenue, helps them make profit. And that is, I think that's the right thing for baseball. Baseball is a historic sport. Baseball is America's sport. It has been around since the early 1900s, late 1800s, and baseball is just historic in America. It is the American game, and with that, being said, these big market teams, they would suffer a lot with the cap, with this cap space, salary cap. And, example, you Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. The Dodgers would not be able to afford all three of, not even the, I'm just giving an example. Those guys are just their best players. The Dodgers would not be able to afford all of them. They have to get rid of at least two of them so they can afford, to function an actual team. They can't, so they trade Mookie to, the Cardinals or whatever, and then Freddie Freeman to small market team. I don't know, just another small market team, the Mariners or the Marlins or something like that. And so viewership, could tend, take a toll. They could lose money, people stop watching, and it affects overall viewership, ratings. People just want to boycott it. And this is the same thing that happened in the early 2020s. With the early 2020 lockout, players weren't getting paid. They just weren't getting, players were, hey, we're not getting paid nearly as much as some of these guys. We want money. MLB said, no. Oh, okay, we're not playing. We're sitting out. And they sat out for, it was a 99-day lockout. And they decided, fine, we'll reinvent, we'll pay you guys. So started playing baseball again. But in return, they missed the first two series of the season. It's about like the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the 2020 season, which does suck. But you're losing, losing money off it. You're losing people stop. You're losing 2 weeks of their revenue. So they do want to resolve that sooner rather than later. Have to. I don't want to lose money. Let's resolve this. But why would the lockout even happen? Why do they even propose this? So their CBA required. I'm not sure what that means. I think it's like one of their contracts. That's one of the contracts of the MLB. It expires in 2026, and the CBA, I believe, is like the contract, like the contracts of baseball. And when it expires, no one gets paid until they fix it, until someone else resigns it, or gets re-signed by a team or organization or whatever. So when that expires, players won't get paid. They'll lock out. They'll sit out. So all they have to do, honestly, is just get someone else, figure it out. Let's sign this, get it over with, so they don't lose money during that. It could be longer. Maybe the lockout will take longer because players aren't getting paid. They want to make more. Maybe they want to make more money. They see these Shohei, Vladimir Guerrero, De La Cruz, whatever. They see all these guys making all this money, and they're saying, "Hey, I want to make that money too. Why am I not getting paid like that?" So at the end of the day, I mean, the salary cap is a good thing for baseball, or a bad thing for baseball, because there's so many teams in the MLB that just have so much more money. I mean, there's what was the stat? 9 teams in the MLB currently are spending over $200 million to keep their rosters alive, and 5 of them are spending under $100 million. So you can see the teams that are spending more are doing better in the playoffs, regular season. Some of those teams include, the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, the Blue Jays. I mean, the team, Padres. The teams that do good in the playoffs tend to spend the most in the regular season. The teams that spend the least, some of those teams including the A's, White Sox, Athletic, the A's, the Marlins, Mariners. These teams that spend so little are the teams that don't do good in the regular season and don't make the playoffs and lose. People just don't watch them. So the MLB definitely should not add a salary cap whatsoever. I think it'd be bad for the sport. You would lose so much money, lose a lot of revenue, because like I said earlier, in 2021 when it started on December 2nd, 2021, that lockout happened. They were out for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. They didn't play the first 2 series, lost millions of dollars from revenue from jersey sales, concession stands, all that stuff. And even when they were getting paid, players were still complaining, "Hey, I want to make more money than this. I think I should be, I should be earning more money than this guy who's worse than me." And it was a very difficult time, difficult situation to be in. So they eventually solved it, and the cap space issue, didn't think it would come up again. And like I said, in 2026, the CBA expires, and it'll, go from there. They'll have to decide what they want to do, pay their players, not pay their players. It's only a matter, it is pretty far away. It's the end of the 2026, so December 2026. So it's like a year and a half away, so it's plenty of time to figure out what's going to happen then, where, what, whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if players will actually sit out again. Players lock out, You never know. We'll have to wait and see until 2026. And until then, if players are getting paid, they don't care. That's all we got for this segment. Next segment, in the final segment, we're going to the NFL. We'll talk about Nick Chubb, one of my favorite players in the NFL, what he's got going on, what's going on over there. Let's talk about him, where he can land. We'll get right back to that after the break. Welcome back to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Nolan Jamber. Final segment today. If you're just tuning in, it's the final segment number 5. But before we talk about all this, we're about to talk about Nick Chubb. Put that up so you just know. Nick Chubb situation, so we know. But before we talk about this, we had basketball. We had the, WNBA draft was last night. You got NBA play-in, starts tonight. Talked about that. The Detroit Pistons, their first time in the playoffs since 2017, 2018. Talked about that. In the last segment, talked about the possible MLB lockout in 2026. What could happen with that? If they will lock out, sit out, never know. We'll have to wait and see. But let's talk about, Nick Chubb in Cleveland. So Nick Chubb, one of the best, most dominant running backs in the NFL when healthy. No doubt about it. He is a pure, he's fast, he's strong, he's dominant, he does it all. Nick Chubb is, I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but I say it, and honestly, I think it's true from time to time, depending on the week. But when Nick Chubb is healthy, he is the best running back in the league. Granted, I've had that take for a while, and then Saquon Barkley got traded to the Eagles. So maybe I can tone that, maybe say top 3. But when when Nick Chubb is healthy, I do believe he's a top 3 running back in the league. Him, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, add him in there as well. But I do believe that Nick Chubb, when he's healthy, is just phenomenal. He's a great player. But the problem is, playing the Steelers, 2023 season, he had a very, very serious leg injury. He was driving. A Steelers linebacker or strong safety came down, filled the gap, tackled him low at his legs, and his leg bent in a very, very disgusting, I guess you could say, way. And he was in a lot of pain immediately. He took off his helmet. He was showing signs of emotion. And, these NFL players, they don't cry, but you can see in his eyes tears coming down. His eye, they were watering. They're about to start falling, and they got him out of there immediately. Took him to the hospital, and he destroyed his leg. His leg was just destroyed. And it was horrible to see, watching that play happen, watching it unfold. Because, Nick Chubb is one of the most, he's one of the nicest guys in the NFL. He's a nice guy. He's a great player. He's very quiet. He doesn't really speak on social media. He makes a few posts here and there to, talk about just, the season or whatever. But he's really a nice, quiet guy. And Nick Chubb is a free agent still. The Browns, he had a contract through the 2024 season, and they never re-signed him. 2025 season, sorry, and they never re-signed him. And he's currently still a free agent. So, obviously, there's a million spots where he could go. One of them being Las Vegas. Las Vegas could, all these teams that I'm about to say could sign him for an easy, 1, 2 year, 3 year contract for very small money, for a lot of, few $1 million, $2 million for a quick contract, and he'd be a great running back to have. Nick Chubb is, like I said earlier, he's not huge like in size, so that helps a lot. Harder to take down, but he's really strong and he's fast. He's versatile. He's like people compare him to Barry Sanders. He's nothing like Barry Sanders, but he's a really good running back. Great stiff arm. He's super strong. He's a phenomenal stiff arm. So he can go. I mean, the Raiders are a team that are looking at Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty and Nick Chubb share a lot of similarities in the way they play. They are both big, fast, good stiff arm, aggressive. He can go to the Raiders for for a cheap buck. He could also end up going. I could see him maybe going to Arizona. Yeah, they got James Conner over there, but he's aging. He's been in the league a while. I feel like he's been, especially for a running back, his time's coming. He's still putting up good numbers, but Nick Chubb would be a great rotational running back for the Cardinals. I think he would fit in that system very well because Nick Chubb, even though he's pretty fast, he doesn't wear gloves, but I'm saying that because Arizona likes to pass a lot. And Nick Chubb still has great hands. Don't get Nick Chubb and now out on a quick, pop route, slant route, something quick out of the backfield or a quick bubble, and he gets yards out of it. He gets 5, 6, 7+ yards each time he catches the ball because he finds, the spot to go to. He could also, I could see him going to these New York, either the Jets or the Giants. Both those teams are in complete rework mode, and like I said earlier, either of those teams could sign for a quick buck for a few $1 million for a quick 2-3 year contract to help build up some of their younger guys as well who they end up drafting, picking up in free agency, whatever. So I mean, Nick Chubb is still a phenomenal football player. It was proven. I mean, Nick Chubb yesterday or 2 days ago on Twitter, it's social media, there was a video of him squatting 600 pounds again. Nick Chubb is healthy again. You don't squat 600 pounds when you're still rehabbing your leg. He is healthy again, and Nick Chubb has always been one of the best running backs when he's healthy, best running backs in the NFL. And there's no doubt in my mind. I will say that to the day that he retires. And he's not a controversial running back at all. He's got nothing going against him. He's a quiet guy. Really, he stays off social media except it's maybe a post or two a season. I mean, he's a great player. So, honestly, you don't, like I said, you don't squat 600 pounds without being healthy. You just don't. So, Nick Chubb is still one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy. Where he'll go, I mean, the Browns could use him again. The Browns could re-sign him for, sign him for another few-year contract for a few $1 million. They got cap space. Granted, Deshaun Watson has it all, but still, I mean, they have cap space. And where he'll go, though, like I said, he fits in a lot of systems, but I do think he'd fit in well with either New York team, the Cardinals, Raiders, but I do hope he does get re-signed by the Browns. If he does, I mean, I'd love him to, but will he? I doubt it. But, I mean, there's a million running backs in the NFL. I mean, running back lifespans are just so short nowadays. These guys are getting bigger, faster, stronger, and yeah, they are, but so are these linebackers, so are these safeties coming in, linemen coming in, hitting them harder in the gaps. I mean, they're coming in, filling the gaps, and dominating. So, I mean, Nick Chubb still has a lot of gas. I think he still has a lot of gas left in the tank. Maybe not a lot, but enough to where he can bang out a few more seasons and then call it good. I mean, he was a first round pick for the Browns for a reason. I mean, you don't pick a running back in the first round unless you think he's gonna dominate for you. And that's exactly what he did. He dominated for the Browns for those few seasons, part of that 2020 playoff run, helped beat the Steelers, took them to a 12-win season with him and Baker Mayfield. That team was loaded. That Baker Mayfield team, him, Nick Chubb, you had Kareem Hunt in the backfield as well. So they kept rotating. Jarvis Landry, I can never say his last name. You had OBJ on that squad as well. I believe Donovan Peoples-Jones was on that team as well. I loved watching him in college. But, I mean, this Nick Chubb is still a phenomenal running back. He's phenomenal when he's healthy, phenomenal overall. And when you still see him squatting 600 pounds after coming back off a gruesome leg injury such as the one that happened to him, it really does prove the determination and grit this guy still has in his heart. He still wants to play football in Cleveland. And with them, resetting Myles Garrett, I can see him wanting to stay even more because him and Myles are really close. But if he does get re-signed by the Browns, it'd be a great re-signing for the organization. And with them having the second overall pick, probably taking either Travis Hunter or Shadur Sanders, it'll help this team out tremendously, especially with him being, a vetted running back, I guess you could say. So if he goes back to Cleveland, that'll be only good things in the future for the organization. But like I said multiple times already, he's one of the best running backs in the league when he's healthy. And I think he's healthy. I'm not sure if he's fully healthy still or yet, but he's definitely got plenty left in the tank to show, yeah, I'm ready to play and I'm ready to help this organization win games, go to the playoffs, and maybe bring this team to its first ever NFL Super Bowl win. That's all I got for today. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, hosted by GSMC Sports Network. Your continuous support really means the world to us, so please feel free to like, share, comment on any social media. It really means a lot. If you want to stay up to date with all things GSMC Sports, please follow us on social media. You can do that via Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter/X to stay up to date with all things GSMC Sports, when we're posting, who's posting, all of that. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in today. I'll talk to you all very soon, and have a great rest of your day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.